Happy Tuesday, Grace Covenant. This is Samantha Gonzalez-Block, one of your pastors. This is your Tuesday devotional. These past few days have been feeling particularly heavy in our world, and I know a lot of us are wondering what we can possibly do to shift things, to make a difference, to feel like we can find some hope in this unpredictable time. And yesterday was Yom Kippur. And for the Jewish tradition, this is a Day of Atonement, a time where you ask for forgiveness, where you reflect upon the year that you've just had, and you try to make way for a new year via saying I'm sorry, or via asking God for forgiveness, or spending some time wondering how you can really be the change that you want to see in the world. And today, in the spirit of that, I wanted to share a story. This story comes from Rabbi Nachman, and it's a legend. And the legend goes like this. Once there was a king and his son who were always quarreling. Each time the prince would say or do something offensive or outrageous, and then the king, each time furious, would banish the boy from the palace. And then each time the prince would return, and he would apologize to his father, and he would take his rightful place by the king's side. One day, incensed with his son's behavior, the king summoned his trusted advisor and gave him a stern order. I've just banished the prince from the palace again, the king said, and you are commanded never to let him back in, no matter how strongly he pleads with you. The advisor nodded his head, and the very next morning the prince, as usual, came back and begged for forgiveness. The advisor, fearing for his own life, told the prince that he wasn't allowed back in, and the prince walked away, dejected. But he returned the next day, and again begged to see his father. And again the advisor had no choice but to turn him away. With each new day, the advisor's heart grew heavy. He knew that disobeying the king may have grave consequences, but he couldn't stand to be the one that was standing between a father and a son. Finally, unable to take it any longer, the advisor went to see the king, and kneeling before the throne and trembling, begged the king to forgive the prince. Seeing the force of the advisor's emotion, the king immediately consented, and he never quarreled with his son again. When hearing this story, it might be easy to feel like the prince, constantly trying to make good with God, constantly messing up and asking for forgiveness. I mean, isn't that what we do every time in confession? We admit the things that we've done wrong, and we beg God and those around us to hear our truth and to show us mercy. But what I appreciate about this story is that Rabbi Nachman tells us that in fact we are not the son in this story. We are the advisor. Our role in this world is to stand between the King of Kings, God, and the world, and do whatever we can against all odds to bring these two together in peace. In short, we are repairers of the world, repairers of that bridge between the divine and the world. We are called to do all we can, even in the midst of what feels impossible, to bring about hope and justice and love and, yes, mercy. And so today, as we go into the rest of our day, I invite you to think about what is one thing that you can do to help repair this brokenness in our world. to help bring God's kingdom right here among us, to shine some light where it feels particularly heavy. I will be praying for you, Grace Covenant, and I hope that you'll pray for me too. Have a blessed Tuesday.